Good morning, all of you. Now we are back with the chapter Nazism and Rise of Hitler. That day we have discussed about the problem faced by Weimar Republic. We have already discussed about the Treaty of Versailles, November criminals. Now we'll start with political radicalism and economic crisis. And we can relate with this the impact of Russian Revolution, the birth of Weimar Republic coincided with Russian Revolution also. Soviets to workers and soldiers were established, and most people demanding Soviet style governance. The political atmosphere in Berlin, which is the capital of Germany, was charged with demands because they wanted Soviet style governance. Those opposed to this, that is, supporters of Weimar Republic, met in Weimar to give shape to the Democratic Republic. And Weimar Republic crushed the uprising. That means protest with the help of a organization called Free Corps. Now, anguished Spartists later founded the Communist Party of Germany. That means communists and socialists became enemies and could not make common cause against Hitler. Both revolutionaries and militant nationalists craved the radical solutions. Now, political radicalization was only heightened by the economic crisis of 1923. As we have already discussed, that Germany had to pay war reparations in gold, which led to the depletion, that means shortage of gold reserves. That in 1923, Germany refused to pay, and the French occupied its leading industrial area, that is Ruhr. Germany utilized with printing paper currency recklessly. How? With too much printed money in circulation, the value of the German mark fell. In April, the US dollar was equal to 24,000 marks, German marks. In July, that was 353,000. August, 4 lakh 62,000 marks, and in December, it was 98 lakh 860,000 marks by December. The figure had run into trillions as the value of the marks, German mark, that is the currency, collapsed. Prices of goods soared, increased. And we can see the image of Germans carrying cartloads of currency notes to buy a loaf of bread was widely publicized, evoking worldwide sympathy. And this situation is known as hyperinflation. That means when prices rise phenomenally very high. Now, the Americans intervened and bailed Germany out of the crisis by introducing the Deutsch Plan. But before starting this, we will just discuss about the years of depression, which is also known as Great Economic Depression. The years 1924 to 1928 saw some stability, but it was built on sand. Germany was totally dependent on short term loans, largely from the USA. This support was withdrawn with the crash in 1929 of the Wall Street Exchange. That is the name of the world's biggest stock exchange located in USA. Fearing a fall in prices, people made efforts to sell their shares on one single day, 24th October, 13 million shares were sold. And this was the beginning of Great Economic Depression. And over the next 3 years, 1929 to 1932, the national income of the US fell by half. Factories shut down, exports fell, farmers were badly hit. The effects of this recession in the US economy was felt worldwide. The German economy was the worst hit by the economic crisis. By 1932, industrial production was reduced to 40% of the 1929 level. Workers lost their jobs or were paid reduced wages. The number of unemployed touched at unprecedented 6 million. On the streets of Germany, we could see men with placards around their necks saying, willing to do any work. Unemployed youths played cards or simply sat at street corners or desperately queued up at the local employment exchange. As jobs disappeared, the youth took to criminal activities, and total despair became commonplace. That means the economic crisis created anxiety and fears in people, the middle class, especially salaried employed, and pensioners saw their savings lost when the currency lost its value. Small businessmen, the self employed, or retailers suffered as their businesses got ruined. Only organized workers could manage to keep their heads above water, but unemployment weakened their bargaining power. Big business was in crisis. The large mass of peasantry was affected by a sharp fall in agriculture prices, and women, unable to feed their children's stomachs, were filled with a sense of deep despair. After the economic crisis, political instability was also in Weimar Republic. Now we'll discuss about the political defects. Politically too, the Weimar Republic was fragile. The Weimar Constitution had some defects which made it unstable and vulnerable to dictatorship. One was proportional representation. This made achieving a majority by any one party a near impossible task, leading to a rule by coalition. Another defect was Article 48, which gave the president the powers to impose emergency, suspend civil rights, and rule by decrees. Within its short period, the Weimar Republic saw 20 different cabinets lasting on an average 239 days, and liberal use of Article 48. Yet, these crises could not managed by Weimar Republic. People lost confidence in democratic parliamentary system which seemed to offer no solution.